On Saturday, the DNC chose Tom Perez to fix the party that's currently the minority, or at least soon will be, in all three branches of government. They're coming off an election that saw infighting throughout the party, and that directly led to Donald Trump taking the White House and Republicans holding the majority in both chambers of Congress. Now, the Democratic Party, they're looking to find unity while they chose a new leader. Instead, Saturday's vote just led to even more questions over the future of the party. Tom Perez is seen by many in the party as an establishment pick, deeply tied to special interest lobbyists and party loyalists. The more progressive activists, like Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, they backed Minnesota's Representative Keith Ellison. Perez's pick continued to show that there is a rift in the party, and it's left over from the DNC's backdoor favoring of Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders in the primaries. While the Democrats are still reeling, the Republicans face their own sets of issues. Though they're in control, many in the party feel that Donald Trump's actions are going to lead to massive losses in 2018's midterm elections. Real Clear Politics puts the current congressional approval rating just above 20%, after reaching as low as 13% since the election. Many in the Republican Party are attempting to distance themselves from Trump's most controversial actions. Guys like John McCain and Lindsey Graham and Jeff Flake, they've all spoken against the president, with many more afraid to speak out. This begs me to ask, if we're so distrusting of these political parties, why are we so loyal to them? In November, we saw an unusually high amount of straight ticket votes. It was the first time in over 100 years that we saw no states vote differently in the presidential and Senate races. These so-called purple states, they often show that we have moderate leanings throughout our country. So why do we continue to overwhelmingly reward the people that have no interest in what us, the constituents, want? Many thought that November's divisive race would pave the way for maybe a third party to rise up and gain traction. But they never came to our rescue. So, out of fear, we stood by our red and blue roots. Is that really how we want to choose the direction of our country? Out of fear? I know this may get me a little bit of bashing on social media, because I know this is a progressive outlet, but I'm a former Republican. I've even previously campaigned for Republican candidates. But after understanding that the RNC didn't have my interests in mind, I rid myself of that party affiliation. Conservatives talked about more liberty and less government interference in my life and in the economy. Unfortunately, they'd act completely differently. They would spend and spend and spend. They'd grow government. They'd cave to lobbyists when it applied regulations. When they spoke about being free in their lives, they would turn around and restrict how people loved and how people prayed. They did absolutely nothing to earn my vote, so I quit the party. In the same token, I looked at the Democratic Party for answers. But I found that when they rallied against the financial inequalities of our country and they championed the cause of improved health care, they continued to be controlled and influenced by Big Pharma and Goldman Sachs. So how long are we willing to stand by these parties as they decreasingly care what we, the American people, want out of our elected officials? This self-sustaining industry that government created can only be stopped if we demand it. So far, we seem completely disinterested in doing more than just ranting and raving on social media. These parties betray our trust, yet we are still going to turn out in the polls, we're going to donate to these parties, and we're going to keep electing incumbents or those just like them. And anytime somebody stands to turn the parties on their heads, like a Bernie Sanders or a Ron Paul, they're labeled as crazy and unrealistic by the establishment. So my advice is to not be satisfied if you want Keith Ellison or someone else to take the DNC reins. Don't sit back and say the direction that Tom Perez moves the party in is good enough. That's exactly how the Republican Party ended up with Trump. Well, I guess he's better than Hillary, has now turned into the nation's biggest nightmare. Now is the time to turn up the pressure and demand that your voice be heard. Otherwise, we're headed down this path where the two major parties just do what the lobbyists want, simply pitting us, the unsuspecting public, against each other. Of course, maybe they've already done that, and that's why we're in this mess to begin with. So what we need now, more than ever, is to hold our elected officials accountable. Make them work for our vote. We need to tell the parties that if they don't pay attention to our needs, we are going to stop supporting their addiction to power.